Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new week talking about Celtic, a week in which we return by the end of it. That's right, Celtic back in action this weekend following a pretty torrid international break for Scotland fans. That's right, I'm looking at you, Stevie Clark. Good to be back, good to be talking about Celtic. Sadly for us, a bit of a negative story today in relation to Casper Schmeichel, but also some transfer rumours linking Celtic with a potential midfield option. So stay with me, some good, some bad today. Let's try and get through it. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. That would be much appreciated. We are so close to 49,000 subscribers, so keep that momentum going by going down below, hitting both of those buttons. We're going to start today, sadly, with the negative story about Casper Schmeichel, which has Celtic fans anxiously waiting to find out the extent of a potential big injury. So let's get the bad news out the way. So imagine my shock and horror waking up this morning to see headlines like this. Casper Schmeichel rushed to hospital. The national team goalkeeper went to the hospital for further examinations with the national team doctor for the injury he sustained against Portugal last night. That's right, Casper Schmeichel was sadly forced to hospital with a big injury last night in his Nations League match against Portugal. The Danish publication Bold went on to say in their story that Casper Schmeichel was indeed rushed to the hospital for further examinations with the national team doctor to learn more about the extent of his injury. Casper Schmeichel was in pain as he fell and struggled to his feet. It was clear that the international goalkeeper was in great pain as he struggled through the final 15 minutes of extra time. With no substitutions left, the Danish national team manager was left with no option to sub him off and said if it was possible he would have replaced Casper Schmeichel because he was injured, but he was already out of substitutions, which means he had to stay on for the rest of the game. And reports went on to say in that same article that you could hear him in audible pain for that last 15 minutes of the game, both through the last 15 minutes of the game and on his trip to hospital, in audible pain. And now Celtic and the national team both wait to find out the extent of this injury. I'm not going to be a hypochondriac, I'm not going to get a little bit over the top or carried away here, but it doesn't look good, not with the way that he went down and the way that he left the park last night. This could be a bit of a problem for Celtic. So essentially, Casper Schmeichel landed awkwardly on his shoulder in extra time, which meant that he was forced to play the last 15 minutes with what could have potentially been a dislocated shoulder, a broken bone. We don't really know yet. We're waiting to find out. We'll probably find out from Brendan Rodgers at the end of the week. But a frustrating one for so many reasons. The fact he was forced to finish the game because Denmark were out of substitutions. The fact that we now potentially lose our number one going into a treble chasing few weeks at the club, but more frustrating because the injury shouldn't even have happened. Now, I'm sure you're aware of this by now, but one that is going to be so for Celtic fans to take because it all came from an offside situation, which means that if the flag was raised when it should have been raised, we wouldn't be talking about Casper Schmeichel being injured right now. But because of that stupid new rule that exists in football, we're forced to face the punishment of losing the best keeper in Scotland. It was a goal-scoring situation which later turned out to be offside. And because of that rule where you don't raise the flag until the play is over and complete, Casper Schmeichel has suffered an injury. And that is so frustrating. So frustrating. It's a rule that I think we all know as football fans is one that doesn't work or shouldn't be in existence, but for some reason UEFA, FIFA, the lawmakers, the rule makers of our game just refuse to listen to it. It's been a constant point of conversation in domestic football, European football and international football for the last year or so, yet nothing has been done to address it, and now players are getting injured because of it. Now I know what some people might say, non-Celtic fans will go, oh well, if he got injured there, he probably would have got injured anyway, but you don't know that. And I'm not saying that it's all down to this offside situation that didn't get called that he's injured, but just think. He'd have walked off the pitch okay last night because the situation of him landing awkwardly wouldn't have came about. So now Celtic are a man down. And who knows? Casper Schmeichel's season might be over. We're hearing about this audible pain, getting rushed to hospital. It could be good news. He might only be out for a couple of weeks. He might be fine, but it could be bad news. His season could be over. And now we've got to wait till Friday to find out. So Williams and Salo could be called into action for Celtic this weekend against Hearts. I'm pretty certain after hearing these reports that Schmeichel will at least miss this weekend's game. Don't take my word on that. There is absolutely no guarantee, but it just sounds like quite a sore one, quite a serious one. And if he was in such discomfort when he needed rushed to hospital, I think it would be a miraculous return for Casper Schmeichel this weekend. He's not somebody who's known for rolling about the ground or exaggerating injury. He's a pretty tough lad, and yeah, this must be a sore one if he's getting rushed to hospital. So, big couple of games potentially for Williams and Salo coming up. Celtic fans have been dying to see what he can offer. And against Hearts, I'm sure he'll face opportunity. I'm sure he'll face chances where he'll need to step up and be big. And we've got a Scottish Cup semi-final coming up. Potential derby coming up as well. Not even a potential derby, we do have a derby coming up. Whether or not Schmeichel is back in time for all of these games, we need to wait and see. Brendan Rodgers will probably give us the injury update come Friday, but if anything else comes out, make sure to tune into the channel and we will be talking about it. Last week on the channel, we spoke about the transfer rumours linking Celtic with Ligue 2 Guingamp midfielder Sidibe. Well, today we have fresh transfer rumours linking Celtic with yet another central midfielder, this time of the German Bundesliga and former teammate of Arne Engeles. These were the headlines coming out of Germany via Fußball Transfers, saying that Augsburg trembles because several clubs are after midfielder Rex Bekaj. Elvis Rex Bekaj has an important decision. Will the Bundesliga player follow the temptations of an adventure abroad or commit to his future at FC Augsburg? With the loose translation of Google here, it says that Elvis Rex Bekaj's future could lie outside the Bundesliga because he's caught between two stools, and according to Fußball Transfers reports, he's considering various options. Several foreign clubs have already inquired about the 27-year-old. Glasgow Celtic, Besiktas and Parma Calcio are among those knocking on the door. Clubs from the English Championship have also sounded out the possibility. However, a parting of the ways between Rex Bekaj and Augsburg in the summer is by no means set in stone. They are trying to extend the contract of the Kosovo international beyond the current expiry date of 2026. So, conversations going on between the player and his club Augsburg, but according to reports in Germany, Celtic are in and knocking on the door. The article goes on to say as well that a transfer will likely happen if no deal is struck this summer, because he'll only have a year left on his deal. They want to try and cash in when they can. The player, 27 years of age as well, in the prime years of his career, will obviously have a big decision to make. So this is somebody who Celtic will maybe be looking at. Once again, it's that point of the year where I'm saying take everything you read with a pinch of salt, because agents like to drum up the interest and clubs like to try and maybe look at the money they could make in the summer window. But it isn't an area where we know Celtic could do with a little more quality. And so far, the two players we've been linked with, both centre midfielders. Sidibe last week, defensive midfielder. Rex Bekaj this time, who is more of a holding midfielder as well. There seems to be a trend, a pattern forming here. Will it be any of these two players? That's not for me to say, but the rumours are out there. He is a Bundesliga regular for Augsburg, playing 20 times in the league this season, starting all 20 of those occasions. Only a goal and an assist to his name in the league, 4 appearances in the cup and a goal there too, but that is because he is more of a defensive midfielder. His job isn't to contribute to goals, it's to do all that different harder work, you could argue, which Celtic are needing numbers in. Callum McGregor, the only naturally defensive player in the squad, and he needs backup. He needs someone else who can come in and challenge even for that place to try and bring competition to that area of the park. Rex Bekaj could be one of those options. Kosovo international and a Bundesliga regular for the last 10 years almost. He's someone who has played at the highest level consistently within the German football pyramid. So certainly somebody who I think would be good enough to come in and become an option for Celtic. Because as I said with Sidibe, I don't necessarily think any of these players coming in are necessarily going to dislodge McGregor from his place. But to at least give that option and that illusion of depth, it's really important we find someone, and I don't mind it being someone with a bit of experience like Big Elvis here. Can I just make it clear, I generally love the idea of having a player with the first name Elvis too, and for that reason alone, I don't mind us signing him. as you know, I am a Bundesliga enjoyer, and I'm not going to for a moment pretend that I watch Augsburg week in, week out, because I don't. That would be a lie. But the last guy who was signed from Augsburg turned out pretty well. Consistency and playing with each other could be handy, aren't the Engeles and Big Elvis? But all jokes aside, I mean, in all seriousness, they're having a good season. They're sitting in the top half right now. They still could push for European football, albeit probably Conference League. But that's massive for Augsburg, and especially after losing a player like Arne Engels, for him to step up in the midfield and be such a consistent and reliable player in there, which he has been all season. He's clearly somebody with talent to start 20-odd games, and potentially by the end of the season 30 games in the Bundesliga at a top half side. Shows you're a player of real quality. So yeah, I think the one thing we can take away from all of this is Celtic are definitely looking for a holding midfielder in this transfer window that's upcoming. Whether it's going to be Sidibe of Ligue 2 in France, whether it's going to be Big Elvis of Augsburg in the Bundesliga, who knows. I wouldn't get too carried away with stories thus far, but when these things start to kind of add up a wee bit, you know that you're at least looking for someone in that area. Right then, that's me for today. If you can't tell, I didn't address this at the start. I've got a bit of a sore throat, so it's been a bit of a painful one to try and get through, but we've made it to the end. So if you've enjoyed, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below as well. Take care of yourselves. If you're going to Monday Night Raw tonight, if you see me, give me a wave. I hope you enjoy. But until tomorrow, take care, God bless, and I'll see you all next time.